G'day, how you going? Welcome to my first poker vlog. This will be just a bit of an introduction, telling you a bit about me, what I plan to do with the vlog, and hopefully get a couple of followers. So I'm 56 years of age. Yeah, why are you starting a poker vlog at that age? Well, I've got a bit of free time now. I've wanted to do it for a while, so we're going to give it a crack now. I live in a little town called Tailem Bend, which is about 100 kilometres outside of Adelaide in South Australia, which is the middle bit down the bottom of Australia. Probably only about 2,500 people live in Tailem Bend. It's mainly known for as being an old railways town where had lots of people working here years ago because a couple of the railway lines to Melbourne and Sydney both met here. Not so much the railways anymore, but there's a big, it's known for its grain silos too, big farming community where they bring in all their grain to the silos and take it away on the trains. It's also known for this, the mighty River Murray, which is right on our doorstep. It's the main river that runs through Australia, starts up in New South Wales, comes through Victoria and ends up downstream there, probably through Lake Alexandrina and out into the ocean, probably about 70 kilometres away as the crow flies. I work down in Adelaide as a taxi driver and also a taxi trainer, so I travel down to Adelaide every Monday, which is about what I'm about to do now. I do a bit of training and I'll drive 4 or 5 nights a week depending on when I go down there, and I'm usually back home here at Tailem Bend on a Friday morning around 7:30, so I get a long weekend and love being back up here in the country. Originally off of a farm, my family have still got the farms back that way, about 40 kilometres back behind Tailem Bend. Fairly big setup. My brother and nephew run it and my son Sam works on there full time. 6 farms, about 12,500 acres running crops and sheep. And mum also lives up at Karoonda, which is just 10 kilometres back behind Wainaka, so that's the name of the little towns up there. With this vlog, well, a bit more about me. I was racing bikes when I was young, never really liked the farm, got married over in England, came down here, moved to Adelaide off the farm, worked as a croupier at the casino, so I was a dealer at the casino. My main game was poker, so I was there for 10 years. Bit different I think to the American casinos where you usually only have one game. When I say it was my main game, at most of the Australian casinos you just rock up there, go and look at the roster and you don't know what you've got, what you're dealing until you get there. It could have been baccarat, it could have been blackjack, could have been 2-up, just never knew. But poker was my main game, so I've got a fair bit of knowledge about the game, and as with all poker dealers they all think they're good players, but I'm not like that. I know I've got a lot to learn, but at least I know the basics. So that's roughly it. Spent most of my life racing motorbikes and cars and things, which you'll see in a few other vids. Got divorced probably 20 years ago, been single ever since, and we were living in Adelaide then. Since then, 20 years ago, I bought a house back here in Tailem Bend, which is on the river up there. So got river frontage, nice little block, and where we go, well, my son stays with me most of the time. If he's not staying at the farm, he's into his water skiing and wakeboarding and barefooting and stuff like that. So we've got a speedboat, so it's good fun in the summertime. Probably go for a trip up the farm sometime, show you around the farm when they're reaping or when they're seeding. Hopefully run into a few kangaroos and things like that we can show you live. A bit better than looking at them in the zoo. And we'll just take you on a general tour around South Australia. About my vlog, well, I'm a real fan of Andrew Neeme, so I'm not going to try and copy his, I'm going to do my own stuff, and Brad Owens. So I think in the last year or so I've learned heaps off of those guys, just more about the range of what other players should be playing, things like that, and a bit more on bankroll management in the last few years too, watching people like Jamie Staples and them on Twitch and also their YouTube channel. So it's great watching those guys when they're playing live in tournaments. You can learn a little bit and they explain what's going on. So I'm under no illusion that it's going to be bloody hard. As the title says, taxi driver to professional poker player within 3 years. Probably nearly impossible. Everyone thinks it's going to be easy. I reckon about 3% of the players out there are professionals. There might be another 15-20% that are maybe nearly coming out in front, amateurs, and the rest I think probably lose. So I'm under no illusion how hard it is to make money at poker, but I tend to go alright so far. So in the vlog, when I'm home, probably be playing a bit of online, usually tournaments if I'm home because I've got a bit of time there. Most tournaments will be under $50 tournaments, so hopefully we can sneak in and get one of those. I've got a set up there for Twitch. I never go on Twitch or have it live on Twitch because it's hard to get any viewers. People that watch Twitch can usually only watch one person at a time, and there's a big stream up the top with a lot of players up there like Jamie Staples and those guys, which get their thousands of viewers. But I'm just going to use my Twitch so I can press the record button, so anytime I get to the final table I'll record it and I'll go through what I'm doing, and you guys can tell me what I'm doing wrong. So most of the time, if there's anyone watching me, you're going to know probably more about what to do than what I do. But there could be a few learners out there who've come across this site accidentally and are new to the game. Maybe I might be able to help you guys a little bit. But I'll leave a tag down the bottom for Andrew Neeme and Brad Owens and Jamie Staples, guys like that. Great to watch, and you can get some bit of free information by watching their videos. Also Doug Polk, a few guys like that, they do hand reviews which are all free. I know there's a lot of sites out there at the moment where you can pay $1,000 and learn. I honestly think there's enough information out there for free to get yourself started and become a reasonably good player. So I'm hoping that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be spending any money at the moment on any lessons. I think studying, there's a few sites where you can study what they're doing. So plenty of information out there. So get out, search around and try and learn it. So at home, some live games on the internet. We're going to do probably the local game. We're hoping to have that in my shed about once a month. That's more of a bit of a piss up more than anything. So we have a few beers. That's the only time I have a drink, but it's in the shed. I'll show you that when we do a vlog. Usually it's got 3 or 4 new players and a couple of the other ones that have played a bit, but I still spend most of the night keeping the game in control. People betting out a turn, under raising, just little things like that. So I don't know how much videoing I'll get doing, but as I get more experience, hopefully I'll be able to show you more hands. When I'm down in town, I'll be doing a few tournaments at a poker room called the Match Room. So the Match Room poker room only does tournaments. In Australia, the government laws are you can only play live games at the casinos. So at the Match Room, they have tournaments about 6 nights a week. I'm just going to concentrate mainly on the Wednesday night one, which is a $75 one with $1,000 guaranteed to the winner. Usually get about 50 players to that one. They also have some big ones on the Monday 200 where 6,000 is guaranteed. So hopefully in the next few months I'll get my bankroll going and we'll go into a couple of those. They also have a couple of times a year a couple of championship weeks. So I think they got one coming up in about 6 weeks' time where the main event is $1,500 and $33,000 guaranteed. So see how we go. We might go in a satellite and try and get into that one as well. The other playing I'll be doing is if I'm in town, I won't be and I'm on the computer in between working in the taxi, I might play some little live games. With my bankroll, I think I'm just going to play maybe 1 or 2 tables at 25 cents a dollar, or 25 cents, 50 cents. Probably that's more the size I'll do, just to play around, and if I can make an extra 80 or 100 bucks on those small games and get a bit of practice in, that'll be very good. Also, I'm going to try and get to the Adelaide Casino probably once a month or so. They're only open 5 nights a week. They open from about 7 o'clock at night till about 3 o'clock. I think it's 4 o'clock on the weekend. So on the weekends I'm going to try and spend a couple of days down there and play in probably their two, I'm not even sure what game. I think they got 2-5, something like that. They might even, I think they've got a 5-5. So I'll probably just start off in the smaller games. Weekend will be probably the best, especially if they've got one of their Australian rules football matches on in Adelaide, because the oval where they play the football is only about 300 metres from the casino, and it will get packed and have a lot of new players in there, so we'll try and do that. That's about it. So a few poker games. If I get better and we're going around a bit, I'd love to be able to travel around a bit, maybe go over to Melbourne for a weekend, film a bit there. I don't know whether I'll be able to film any hands. Adelaide casinos don't like cameras, or the Adelaide casino doesn't like cameras, or it didn't, so I'm fairly sure I probably won't be able to video any of the hands. But we'll do that, and the same as Andrew, I'm going to be showing you a bit about around South Australia, a bit around Tailem Bend. Maybe even I'll be getting going to a few of our race meetings soon, speedway meetings. Might show you a little bit of those. I've big into drift car racing as well. I sold my car when the track here shut about 3 years ago. They're building a new track. It's opening in about 8 months' time, so plan is to buy another drift car and get out there with all those young guys and show them how to do it. So we'll take you on that journey too. So a bit of a tour around Australia and a bit of poker. It's probably going to be about 50-50 poker and 50-50 having a bit of a look around. I might even chuck in a few of my other videos. I've also do a bit of part-time comedy work. I take the piss out of cab drivers, believe it or not. And I haven't done anything for a few years, but I've got a gig in about 3 or 4 weeks at the Cranker Hotel, so probably only doing about 5 minutes there. So I'm getting back into doing a little bit of that. It's just a hobby, bit of fun, so I might even show you some of my shit comedy work. And this is my van. That's what I live in 3 nights a week down in Adelaide. I've got a bed in there, I've got a lounge, I've got a coffee table, I've got a TV. So it's set up fairly comfortably and saves me $100 renting a room. So to finish this vlog off, sitting here in my training office trying to get it all sorted. Got the editing program going here. It's taken me about 3 weeks longer than I wanted it to. Little bits I didn't like about the video. Also learning how to do the editing. Still not very good at it, but we're learning every time. A couple of things I just wanted to mention about my poker journey so far. I started playing when I was about 5 years of age. We used to go to the holiday shack up on the river with the family. No TV back in those days, so we'd sit around, play 5-card draw. Maybe a bit of pontoon, a variation of blackjack, and a few other Mickey Mouse games. Started getting a bit more serious when I started working at the casino. Only one casino in Adelaide, and if you're a dealer there, you're not allowed to gamble there. So obviously the poker dealers had their own little private games, so we got a bit more serious back then. I did win the Adelaide Casino Staff Poker Championship, which was probably my biggest win so far. $2,000 spending money and a trip for 2 to Vanuatu in the South Pacific. While I was at the casino, another highlight was dealing at the very first Australian Poker Championship, and for that, to promote it, we had Amarillo Slim, Doyle Brunson, Todd Brunson and Chip Reese all come across to promote it, so pretty exciting to meet those guys after reading about them in magazines. Another highlight was going to America about 25 years ago. Didn't have much money, but went over there, spent 4 days in Vegas, stayed at a backpackers. I think after I'd played poker for about 2 days at this one casino, the pit boss told me it would have been cheaper to stay at one of their rooms, but it was a bit late by then. I'd already paid for my backpacker accommodation. The big highlight there was playing a game down at Binion's Horseshoe Casino. From what I can remember, it was downstairs, and while I was down there playing, Johnny Moss come in and sat down at one of the empty tables, so I got up off the table and went across and had a chat with him for about 15 minutes, which was pretty exciting after only finishing his book about 6 months earlier. So I had a great time in America. Definitely going to get back there again at some stage. So that's about it. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. I know I've got a lot of improving to do, but we will get there. So as they all say, press the subscribe button, I'm not expecting too much out of this. If I can get 20 or 30 subscribers in the next 6 months, I'll be bloody happy. It won't be long for the next videos. They're probably going to be up fairly soon because I've got about 3 that I can edit now from games I've been to. So stay tuned, and we'll catch you real soon.